It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl, a special edition. Today, the two teams that are competing, one will be going on to become the fourth of our final four in the elementary competition. Thus far, we have Glen Arden Woods, we have Bond Mill, we have Greenbelt, and it will be one of these two schools vying for the county championship. Let's meet the teams right now. First, from Rogers Heights, would you please say hello to Elizabeth Musi, Aria Kamamo, and Jorge Medina. And from Whitehall Elementary School, here they are, Maya Zaffaralia, Alonzo Singh, and 7th Johnson. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
And here on the Science Bowl, our game board shows questions according to their difficulty. Easier ones on the left worth 5 and 10. The tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points apiece. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. Into the 2 rounds today, we will have the fourth of our 4 semifinalists. Let's go over and make sure everything works properly before we start. Let's go to that red team. Aria, how's that buzzer looking? It looks and it sounds good. Good luck to you and to Jorge and Elizabeth. And Alonzo, how about the green teams? All right, good push over there. Good luck to you, to 7th and Maya. And not every school gets to this point in the competition. You guys have done really, really well. So continue to play well. Let's have a good game. We go alphabetically R before W. So Rogers Heights and Aria, let's play the game.
Zoo Parade for 10.
Zoo Parade for 10 points. Teams, the Washington Nationals coach recently brought one of these animals to spring training to get his team over the hump of losing. Rogers Heights.
Camel.
Yeah, he brought a camel. Davey brought a camel to the park. Yeah, and Bryce Harper, he was still with us, and some of the others, they were really amused by all that. Go Red.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10 points. Teams, in an order to get younger, some people, some older people, are adopting the vampire therapy. They're getting transfusions of young people's what, Whitehall?
Blood.
Blood, sure. Yeah, go Green.
Zoo Parade for 15.
Zoo Parade for 15 points. Teams, those plastic containers that you get when you buy strawberries and blueberries and blackberries, they are named for this kind of shell because it looks just like this mollusk's bivalve shell. Name the mollusk.
Oyster.
Not an oyster. Good try. Alonzo?
A clam.
Yeah, they call them the clam shells. Those are clamshell containers. Good. Go Green. Good comeback.
Body systems for 15.
Body systems for 15 points. Teams, if something really bad happens to you and you don't act like anything's wrong, people say, oh my goodness, Alonzo, he didn't even bat a what? He didn't even bat a what? Whitehall.
An eye.
More.
An eyelash.
That's it. Thank you, Maya, for helping out there. Didn't even bat an eyelash. Go Green.
Science Potpourri for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, they recently did an experiment at NASA. There were 2 twin brothers, Scott and Mark Kelly. Scott spent a whole year in space on the International Space Station. His twin brother stayed down here on Earth. They wanted to see how they differed in their bodily functions. So Scott was the test in the experiment, and his brother Mark was the what? Whitehall.
The variable.
Not the variable. Good try. Rogers Heights. Mark, go ahead.
Pass it to Jorge. The control.
The control, that's right. The test versus the control. Good attempt over there. Go red.
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, so that a confident statement doesn't bring you bad luck, you are said, knock on what? Rogers Heights.
Wood.
Knock on wood. That's right. Don't bring me bad luck. Go, red.
Let's get physical for 5.
Physical for 5 points. Teams, if you dip litmus paper in acid, it turns what color? Rogers Heights.
Purple.
Not quite. Whitehall. Litmus paper dipped in acid turns what?
Green.
Red. Red. Go again, red.
Zoo parade for 5.
Zoo parade for 5 points. Teams, many people believe that the movie actor Jimmy Cagney, who started a lot of gangster movies, described a double crosser as, you dirty what? Whitehall.
Traitor.
Nope. Zoo parade. You dirty what, you double crosser?
Fox.
You dirty rat. You dirty rat. Go red.
Body systems for 5.
Body systems for 5 points. On Valentine's Day, the X's and O's on greeting cards are emojis that stand for these. Whitehall.
Hugs and kisses.
That's it, hugs and kisses. Okay, go green.
Let's get physical for 20.
Physical for 20 points. All right, 2-part question. I'll need the answer and I'll need you to spell it. The first day of spring and the first day of fall are days where there's an equal, yes? Whitehall.
Equinox. And I'm going to pass it to 7th.
EQUINOX. Equinox.
Beautiful. Just what we wanted to hear. Go. Green. Nice job, 7th.
Science potpourri for 10.
Science potpourri for 10 points, teams. Most rockets are almost entirely filled with fuel because it takes an awful lot of energy to break the force of gravity and to put that rocket into... Aria.
Escape velocity.
Escape. To put it into...
Space.
More specifically...
The atmosphere.
Whitehall.
Outer space.
Orbit. Orbit. Try again, green. Green, please. Let's get physical for 15 points. Teams, because a lot of the ice on the big island of Greenland has melted, we now can see 2 huge impact craters that were made by collisions with these. Rogers Heights.
Icebergs.
Not icebergs, good try. Whitehall, 2 big impact craters on the island of Greenland, now revealed because the ice has melted, caused by collisions with these.
Glaciers.
Meteorites. Meteorites from outer space. All right, the buzzer says we've come to the end of the first round. Good game thus far. 80 for Rogers Heights, 115 for Whitehall. We'll be back in a moment to continue our game. And welcome back. Nice to have you here on this Science Bowl show. Yeah, there's a lot at stake today. One of these 2 teams is moving on to the Final Four and battling for the county championship, but I was just telling them, relax, have some fun, smile because you've already won by being here. They all have succeeded throughout the year, and they're here demonstrating why they are here, because they are just excellent students. If you've not met them before, let's meet them now. Let's go over to Rogers Heights and Aria. You have a great team over there. How do you guys prepare for Science Bowl? How do you practice?
Every day after school, we practice for 3 hours and we watch multiple Science Bowl videos.
Oh my gosh, you must be so sick of seeing and listening to me if you've been watching all those videos, but you've done exactly what you need to do. You've watched the program, you've seen the style of questioning, you know that we talk about words and spelling and prefixes and suffixes, and we keep up on the news, and you guys are playing extremely well here. You have a whole lot of coaches over there, don't you? And they'll be out in just a few moments' time here, and you have, how many alternates do you have?
3.
And they are?
Sophia, Javier, and Yael.
Wonderful. And who's your principal?
Dr. Bottoms.
Wonderful. And Aria, you want to be a medical malpractice lawyer. You told me that earlier. What was the motivation behind that?
When I was younger, I always thought that doctors were always right, but then I've noticed that doctors do make mistakes and they misdiagnose things, and people shouldn't waste their money.
Yeah, because a lot of times to fix that is going to require an awful lot, and insurance covers some, and yeah, it's difficult being a doctor, and they need a lot of malpractice insurance. It's a society where it's tough to make a mistake because someone is always ready to jump on you. But the little guy always needs some support and backing, and you're going to be a good lawyer. As I told you last time, you got a lot of poise and you got a lot of confidence too. I can see you being successful. And Elizabeth, tell us your story. You want to be a biomedical engineer, you told me. What do they do?
Well, they're the people who make gadgets that if you lose a body part, they come up with a solution with that and then use a gadget to replace that body part.
Absolutely. I know they call them a prosthesis. You get like an artificial arm or knee or leg, and some of them are just remarkable. Some people that could never see before being able to see, and some people who are paralyzed are not anymore. They have these exoskeletons that you put on the outside like an insect, and if you couldn't walk, now you can. So you're going to be part of that someday. I think you'll be an excellent addition to that profession. And Jorge, I know you like ornithology. You love birds. You have a parakeet, don't you?
Yeah, her name is Sky.
Ah, and what do you feed your parakeet?
Usually I feed her apples,
Yeah.
like small bits of apples, or small bits of pear or oranges.
Wow. Now, do you ever let your parakeet out of the cage to fly around the house?
Yes, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Like every 15 minutes.
What's
every
that?
day. 15 minutes every day.
A few minutes every day. That's great to get it outside the cage. I remember when I was your age, I had a parakeet, and I would do that, and it would sometimes land on a painting or something, and
Yeah.
you know what it did. And my mother said, there will be no more of that. You're a good player. Nice to have you back. Whitehall, nice to have you guys with us today. Alonzo, tell us about Whitehall. You guys, your school is on the poster. You were the county champs last year. Do you feel the pressure to repeat?
Yes, a lot.
A lot. No, don't feel a lot of pressure. You just come out here and do the best you can as you are doing, and everything else will take care of itself. Whitehall is a blue ribbon school, one of the best in the country, and it was recognized. I remember the day you got the big banner. I think it was just last year, in fact, or maybe a few years ago. What do you like about Whitehall?
Well, there's no bullying. Like, nobody's ever mean to anybody. And, like, everybody is just so friendly.
Wow, it's a no bullying zone. I like that. That's the way school should be, so you can just concentrate on being kids and learning and having some fun. That's what this time of your life is all about. What do you want to do someday?
I want to be a graphic designer.
Yeah, I bet you're going to be a good one, too. You had 2 coaches on your team, and they'll be out in a few moments. And your principal is?
Miss Farmer.
Wonderful. And how many alternates do you have?
We have 3.
3. They are?
Johnny, Emma, and Abigail.
Wonderful. And you're a very bright young man. I can see why they made you the captain, and obviously you've been studying a lot. How did you guys prepare for this?
Well, on Tuesdays after school, we would do practice shows based on past shows. And we would do the same on Thursday mornings for an hour.
Wow. So you've really put a lot of time in, and that's why you're here today, because you've really done exactly what you needed to do. Maya, you want to be a marine biologist, yeah? And you were telling me you want to save all the animals. What are some of the animals out there in the sea that seem to be disappearing now?
Turtles.
Mm-hmm. I even heard that some of the sharks, because they cut off the fins and throw them back in because they use the fins for soup, and they're trying to outlaw things like that. And what else is wrong with the oceans?
There's a lot of pollution.
Yeah, we all like to use plastic things and just throw them away, and they just don't decompose, do they? Well, you'll be very successful with that. And you developed your love for the sea when you lived where?
In the Virgin Islands.
Wow. How long did you live there?
I lived there till I was 4.
4, yeah. Were you at the beach all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be too. Yeah, nice. Thanks for sharing that with us. 7th, you seem to know an awful lot of science. How do you know so much science?
Well, I study on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I even study outside of school just to get that extra edge.
That shows. You know, that is it. If you go above and beyond what everybody else does, then you're going to get to be that superstar. And you told me you want to be the best basketball player ever. You want to be the best science ball player ever. You like Steph Curry, don't you? Yeah, and he never stops practicing. He's always out there. He's always there early, and it's a good role model you got. Let's get back into the game. Rogers Heights is at 80, 115 for Whitehall. Lots of points to give away. All right, you ready to do this? We're going to have some fun, right? Okay, go green.
Green things for 15.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, scientists have come up with an artificial leaf that can perform photosynthesis and make oxygen like a real leaf. And then at night it can go through respiration to make CO2, carbon dioxide, and CO. What chemical is CO? Whitehall.
Cobalt.
Not cobalt, that's a good try. It makes CO2, but also CO. It's carbon monoxide, carbon monoxide. And I should have emphasized that it was 2 capital letters because capital C, small o is in fact the element cobalt there. Go green.
Dateline signs for 15.
Dateline for 15 points. Teams, this is very interesting. In the city of Seattle, Washington, if it snows or the streets are icy, they do not spread salt because they're afraid the salt will run off into the rivers and the sea and damage these economically important fish in the Pacific Northwest. Whitehall. Name the fish. What you got? Rogers Heights. What fish is very important economically to the Pacific Northwest around Seattle, Washington? They don't want that salt washing into the sea because it could damage the fish.
Salmon?
Salmon. That's it. Good. Red. Go.
Let's get physical for 10.
Let's get physical for 10 points. Teams, according to the Kepler telescope mission, this is very interesting. In our galaxy, the Milky Way, there are more of these than stars. More of these than stars.
Pass it to Jorge.
Black holes.
Not black holes, good try. In the galaxy, in the Milky Way galaxy, this Kepler telescope said that they've discovered there are more of these than stars.
Comets.
Planets. Planets. Go red.
Science potpourri for 5.
Potpourri for 5 points. Teams, it got so cold in Chicago recently that they set the rails at the railroad on fire so that they didn't freeze, because when metal freezes, does it contract or expand? Whitehall.
Expand.
No, Rogers Heights.
Contract.
It contracts, yes, and then it can separate and it causes the trains to go off the rails. Go.
Dateline science for 10, please.
Dateline science for 10. Your question is as follows. Oh my gosh, here in Washington recently, it was like a bad soap opera. Yep, it was Liberty and Justice and Aaron Bird. These birds, yes, Whitehall.
The bald eagle.
The bald eagles, yes. The dad left, a new one came in, she left the nest. Oh my gosh, they couldn't make that stuff up. Go, green.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points. Score update, Rogers Heights 100, Whitehall 125. This is green things for 10 points. Teams, if you're eating shortcake for dessert, don't worry about the little black pits all over these fruits, because those are actually just, yes, Whitehall.
Strawberries.
Strawberries, yes, they are individual little ovaries all over, and they shouldn't cause you to, you don't have to spit them out. Go.
Dateline signs for 5.
Dateline for 5 points. Teams, there is a weather monitor on the InSight rover that recently sent back information that it was minus 138 degrees Fahrenheit on what planet? Rogers Heights.
Neptune?
Not Neptune. Whitehall. The InSight rover sent back information that it was minus 138 degrees Fahrenheit on what planet?
Mars.
Mars, yeah, that's where the rover is. Go, green.
Body systems for 20.
Body systems, 20 points. Teams, if you play Fortnite or know about it, you know that the virtual goods have what same name as your epidermis? Rogers Heights. Yes.
V-Bucks?
No. Whitehall. What you got? Virtual goods in Fortnite have what same name as your epidermis?
I pass it to 7. Loot.
Skin. Skin. Go again, green. Alonzo, you choose.
Zoo parade for 20.
Zoo parade for 20 points is a visual question. Look at the monitor in the studio, please. Teams, this beautiful peregrine falcon, the fastest bird on Earth, was endangered, was almost extinct because of what insecticide that was banned in 1972? Name that famous insecticide, Alonzo.
I passed to 7th.
DDT.
Say it again.
DDT.
It is indeed DDT. Nicely done, 7th. Go.
Green things for 20.
Green things for 20 points. Teams, the U.S. Postal Service has just issued new stamps. There are 10 different kinds of cactus. Each one has a beautiful flower on. Each is a different species, but all cactus are known as succulent plants because they're filled with water. Whitehall. Which one to tell me?
Transpiration?
Not transpiration. Rogers Heights, I want you to spell succulent. You do not need to ring in. Succulent plants are filled with water. All cactus are considered succulent plants. Say the word for me, please.
Succulent.
One more time.
Succulent.
Yep.
SUCCULENT.
You got it. Nicely done. Aria, go.
Science potpourri for 20.
Potpourri for 20 points. There are lots of different kinds of engineers. There is a mechanical and chemical and electrical. But if you tinker with chromosomes, you're this kind of engineer. Whitehall.
Genetic engineer?
Yeah, you're a genetic engineer. Absolutely. Maya and 7th, thanks for your help. Go.
Dateline science for 20.
Dateline for 20 points. Teams, they never called him Mr. Peanut, but they could have. Whitehall.
I passed to Maya.
George Washington Carver.
Yes, ma'am. George Washington Carver came up with over 100 uses for peanuts, but not peanut butter. Go green.
Zoo parade for 25.
Zoo parade for 25. Big one in that category. 2-part answer. Nope, 1-part answer. The 7 signs of the zodiac. The crab and the scorpion are the only 2 animals that belong to this phylum. Only creatures that belong to this phylum for 25 points. Come on, Aria.
Scorpio and Cancer.
No, I need the name of the phylum. I need the name of the phylum. The group that the crab and the scorpion belong to.
Crustacean.
Good try. Arthropods. Arthropods. Go again, green.
Green things for 25.
Green things for 25. Big one in that category. Teams, plants are divided into monocots and dicots, meaning they have 1 seed leaf or 2 seed leaves. Cot, CO2, is short for what word that means seed leaf?
Cotyledon.
Say it again.
Cotyledon.
Yes, indeed. Good. Go. Red.
Body systems for 25.
Body systems for 25 points. Teams, what S-initialed disease or condition that is the opposite of antiseptic? Yes. Whitehall.
I passed to 7th.
Sepsis.
Say it again.
Sepsis.
You say it real slowly.
Sepsis.
Sepsis is right. Yes, indeed. Good. Go.
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25 points. Teams, if you're conducting a science fair experiments in vitro, it means in glass. And the glass in particular is one of these P-initial kinds of dishes. Whitehall.
A petri dish.
A petri dish. That's it. Good. Go.
Let's get physical for 25.
Let's get physical for 25 points. This is a visual question. Look at the monitor, please. Many of you will recognize Stonehenge, that prehistoric monument on the Salisbury Plain in England. Not much is known about it, but we do know that those stones were dragged with ropes, and they had no other machines, but they did use these kinds of W-initial devices that are like inclined planes. W-initial devices that are like inclined planes. What you think, Aria?
Wedge.
Wedge, that's it, good. Last question of the game, dateline for 25 points is as follows. Back in 1986, the space shuttle known as the Challenger exploded and killed a school teacher and 6 other astronauts. But in 2003, this space shuttle disintegrated over Texas, killing 7 astronauts. For 25 points, can you tell me its name?
The Columbia.
It was the Columbia, absolutely right. With those 25 points, it gets you close, but it looks like Whitehall has done it. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Don't go away. And welcome back. Yes, one of the judges was saying during the break that was a really good game. Was it ever? Stakes were high, but you saw it till the very end. No one gave up. Let's have a round of applause for everybody here. Rogers Heights and Whitehall, what a game this was. Our final tally is 195 for Rogers Heights, 250 Whitehall. Whitehall, you are going on to the semifinals. You are joining Bond Mill and Greenbelt and Glen Arden Woods vying again for the county championship. Maya Alonso in 7th, congratulations to you. Abigail and Johnny and Emma and Miss Chilcote, no? Miss Chilcote is right there, Miss Wine, and Miss Farmer, who is their principal. Congratulations to all of you guys. And a nice round of applause again for the Rogers Heights team. Jorge and Aria and Elizabeth. We've got Javier there, Yael, Zafia, Miss Rajiv, Mr. Pit, Mr. Thomas, and the young man standing over here was on Science Bowl many years ago himself at Laurel Elementary School. That's Mr. Shane Walker. Shane, nice to have you back. Another generation. We thank you for joining us, and we'll see you hopefully for the semifinals and the finals. Until then, I'm Dave Zarin. Bye-bye.